Afternoon, Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. It is August the 12th, and I double checked on the time, and I double checked with Mama, and today is actually the 12th. I got that wrong on the last video. We are still in Idaho. We're kind of on our way out, but we stopped. We're back up here at Salmon River Lodge, LLC. And you can look that up on the internet. These are some really nice folks. It's beautiful out here. And I recommend you talk to them. Jesse, my son, working here. This is where I came out a week or so ago, and we went up in the mountains. And it's so beautiful. I went back down to Caldwell and got Mama and brought Mama up here, and we're spending a couple days. So it's really beautiful, and so I wanted to make a video. Charter oak, I started saying Maduro, but I think this is the Habano. Listen, I've said it several times, for a hand-rolled boutique affordable cigar, you can't beat the Charter Oak. And those guys don't know me from Adam, okay? I'm not sponsored. I just really, really like their cigars. And you can go from the Charter Oak, you can go from there to a Habano. Habano is the Spanish for Havana. And what a Habano wrapper is a wrapper grown from Cuban seed, but these are Cuban seed that was brought to Nicaragua and grown there. And then you go up to the Maduro, so they got, you know, three different, depending on your preference in strength and in flavor. But you can't hardly beat them. So I picked up a couple of these at a really nice cigar shop in Nampa called the V-Cut Cigar Lounge. If you're in the area, really nice folks in there, and that's a nice lounge. But I'm having this. So this morning, Mom and I, you can see over my right shoulder here, the 4 boats down at the dock. Those are jet boats. And so Mom and I took a boat ride down the Salmon River this morning on those jet boats. Now the captain of those jet boats, named Bill, he's been running this river. He's been out in this country for 43 years, and that man flat knows what he's doing. I mean, it was, but we went down river to just see some of the sights, and we saw where some of the creeks came out into the river that the boys and I camped out at the head of those creeks up in the mountains. And so it was really interesting. It was like, there's Fern Creek. Oh yeah, we went to Fern Creek, and what was the other one? Stubbs Creek. And yep, we watered the mules up at Stubbs Creek up there, and we did some whitewater stuff in the boat. It was very interesting. But we went down a river. There's a spot down there that has some old petroglyphs on the rocks, ancient paintings from the Native Americans that lived here before. The interesting thing happened while we was there. So we were looking at those, and I was talking to Bill about, you know, the area and the old history and stuff. And I said, you know, if you look here at the river, just probably 600 yards upriver, there's a boat ramp and a Forest Service cabin there where everybody comes down. The boaters put the rafters put in and take out, and they've got a Forest Service camp there, and they've got these signs that says this back in the prehistoric deal, whatever. So they say, so I was looking at one of these signs, and it said, you see that there's a low dip in the yard out there, and that used to be an old historic pit house for the Bannock Shoshone tribe, who we think probably wintered up here. And they went on, we think, and possibly this and possibly that. And it was just a dip in the grass that the grass had grown over. And so I'm up there, and we're looking at those petroglyphs and talking about the history. Like I said, Bill's been out here forever. And I mentioned that sign that I had seen there at the Forest Service cabin. And he gave me that look out of the corner of his eye that only an old timer can give you. And so I stopped, and I said, no. He said, no. He said, I know the logger that cut that tree down. He said, all that is they cut a tree down, and when that root wad came out, it left a hole. And he said, there's no archaeological dig there. He said, the grass grew over. He said, that dip was where there was a big tree they cut down. He said, I know the guy that cut it down. And I got to thinking about that. And you know, you take, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to cut anybody's education down or their life's work. And I'm surely not knocking history, the Native American history, or, you know, anything like that. But there's a lot of paper professionals out there. Cigar done gone out. People who have young kids who never been anywhere, never done anything, went in college, went and got degrees, come out, figure this, figure that, da da da. And so they set up these signs like, we know this is what this must be. But you know, it's amazing how much truth you can find out when you hang around old timers who have lived, who have done, who've been there, and can just tell you the simple reality of things. I think I've told you the story before about the veterinarian. He owned like a veterinary business that spanned 4 states, and he was an equine vet, and he worked with the racehorses in Florida. And he asked me one day, he said, "You want a job?" And I said, "I have a job." He said, "I need an equine vet tech on the racetracks in Florida." And I said, I have no training, I have no college degree, I don't know anything about that. He said, "I can get all the college degrees I want." He said, "But I get all these kids coming out of these universities with degrees and they don't know horses. I don't need a licensed, degreed equine vet tech. I need a horseman. I need someone who actually knows horses." So I hired on for that season and went down there, and we took care of 3 different training racetracks, over 400 different horses, race horses. But it wasn't in a degree. It was in experience and living. Bad knees and broken bones and busted ribs, and the kind of experience that you only get by getting out there and getting your nose dirty. So I just, you know, it just crossed my mind and been chewing on it. And I tend to do that a lot. I tend to just sit around and think on stuff and chew on it. A lot of college truth out there, not knocking college, but a lot of things that college kids come out and say, this is what this must be. We think this is what it must be. There's always old timers around who were there. May not have been there back during the prehistoric times, but they were there for a lot of stuff. And they don't go around telling it. They don't write it on t-shirts, and they're just quiet old men who go around and do their work. They just do the work, they live their job, and they do things. We took some rapids in that boat today. Now, I've run a jet boat in Alaska, on the river in Alaska. There's some thunder. We might be finally starting to get some rain. Had a lot of fire problems around here. That'd be good. I ran a jet boat in Alaska on the Kobuk River up out of Kotzebue for a while. But I went down there with this guy, and I don't know anything about jet boats, and I don't know rivers, and I don't know how to read a river. And this guy, I mean, we would stop and get off, and he would say, "You see that water? You see that reel right there? And then there's that wave right there, and you see that foam of white angling at a 45-degree angle? There's a big rock right there. And there's a reef coming there, and what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to come around here and go up over that." I mean, he read that thing like you would read Reader's Digest. There ain't a whole lot of them folks around anymore, and they know stuff. They know stuff. And there's an old saying, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. Start finding you some old timers to hang around. Don't start asking questions. Don't go in there and start throwing down what you know. Just go sit down and have coffee with them. Just start hanging out with them and what they do. And just listen to them. And let them talk about their years. And it's amazing the reality. The reality of life. The simple truth that you'll pick up along the way. So anyhow, I thought that was really interesting. I mean, I knew when I stood there and looked at that, I was looking at, I'm like, that anything could have made that dip. Anything could have made that dip. I mean, how do these people know that back before history, somebody built a roof over that and lived in it? I was in Papua New Guinea for 2 years, and I saw holes that were grassed over, but holes in the ground. Here's one, and there's one, and over there, there's one. Very obviously, they were grassed over like that. But the locals said, yeah, those are the Japanese bombs. And I walked away with some anti-aircraft shells from there. But people who had lived there, people who knew. Not some overeducated, white-collar intellectual came out, looked at a hole in the ground and said, this is a narrative that we would like for it to be. So we think these were ancient peoples who did this. Now there's legitimate stuff out there, but old timers, they got it going on and they know where it's at. And we need to start listening to them. All right? So don't believe everything you read on a sign. But you start listening and hanging out with the old people, and you'll learn a thing or two. Okay? So anyhow, we're pulling out of here in the morning. Mom and I are. We're going to grab one of them jet boats in the morning, head back down to the boat ramp where the truck's parked. We're going to get in that truck, and we're going to head to Sheridan. And I want to make it all the way to Sheridan tomorrow, but Mama wants to start part way. Go part way and then stop for the night. So if you guys want to place bets to see which one happens, but I'm not going to take your bet because I'm pretty sure that I know what we're going to wind up doing. So anyhow, we're just continuing the trip. We're just enjoying ourselves immensely, and we appreciate all the encouragement and all the wonderful comments. We are almost at 75,000 subscribers. That may be nothing to a lot of people on YouTube, but for us, we just sat here like, you see how many subscribers we've got? Can you believe this? It's amazing. And we appreciate it. And we know it's you guys. So if you like it, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit that bell. Click share and send it on to somebody else who you think might appreciate the content on this video. We do have a Patreon account, and we're not as up on that as we should be as far as delivering special stuff. But we know that that's people whose heart is with us and who is supporting us and what we're trying to build and what we're trying to do. And we are eternally grateful for that. We thank you for it. All right. So this is Dwayne, and hopefully we'll see you guys, have another video out here in another 3 or 4 days. We'll catch you next time.